of Cambridge, meeting of October 12th, 2021 to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Rose, Franklin.
Here.
Whitworth.
Here.
Galler.
Here.
Cumbier.
Here.
And welcome to our new member, Schaefer Weiss.
Yay.
McNally.
Here. Okay. Looks like they're all accounted for. Can we stand and recite the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll get going here. Proof of posting. Lisa, has this meeting been posted?
The agenda was posted in the upper and lower levels of the Amundsen Community Center, the Cambridge Post Office, the Hometown Bank, and the village website.
All righty, okay. And then for some public appearances, we're going to start off with Carol Sapienza, our tourism update. So, Carol, if you introduce yourself, please.
Carol Sapienza. I'm board secretary of the Jefferson County Tourism Council, and I live in Cambridge. And I'm the Cambridge rep, and I come here about every quarter and give little updates on what we have going on. Well, let's see. In September, we had Jefferson County Administrator Ben Waymeyer at our September meeting. Can you guys hear okay with this?
Yeah.
And he shared some amazing news that they are going to be using, they're planning to, I don't know if it's been approved yet or not, but he said 99.9% sure at that September meeting that they're using the ARPA funds to purchase a $250,000 three-year partnership with Discover Wisconsin, which would include, like 5 full production Discover Wisconsin episodes, 6 full production and promo of digital short stories, 3 cabin podcasts, 12 newsletters, full production Digi Day Trip, social media, blogs, and 18 weeks of 30-second commercials during Discover Wisconsin episodes, and then various other things. But that was kind of a big deal to me because a lot of our communities in Jefferson County tourism have already done a Discover Wisconsin episode. So if Cambridge can benefit from even a little piece of this, it will be amazing. So kind of keep a lookout for that if that comes through. Hopefully it will. And then last week, Laura Payne from the county, who's our District 16, Town of Oakland, Village of Cambridge representative, went to our meeting via Zoom. I had talked to her the day before, and I said, do you want to, sit in on the meeting? She said yes, and so she was there via Zoom, and it was great. Our website is doing really well, the Enjoy Jefferson County Tourism website. We're on track to reach 100,000 views this year in 2021. And every time I look at the analytics, Cambridge is like #1 top advertiser. I don't know, it's just the community page that's like #1 on there. And we're in front of Fireside Theater and Lake Mills. So I think that's pretty amazing. Let's see, we've been giving away monthly gift certificates. We do a drawing every month. The last month was Sprouting Acres, gave a gift certificate, and it was really sweet that the recipient actually reached out to us and said, thank you for the gift certificate. We had a great time. We met some great people out at Sprouting Acres at their Pizza on the Farm event. So he's able to use that as kind of a testimonial, and we use it too to say, it's a fun thing to do, and we're doing monthly drawings. Let's see, social media, we're going to be doing a Halloween promotion. We just did a winery and distillery post that got about 13,000 engagements or, views or whatever that is. Barn Quilt is 5,800, and then they did an antique resale shop one. Deck the House is coming up in December, and that's the parks departments get together and encourage people to, enter, that they enter their homes, their address, and people can drive by and see the lights, and it's really cute. This year, they're going to be probably reaching out to some of you, the celebrities of Cambridge, to do some secret voting for the grand prize. Like Cambridge would go to Jefferson, and Jefferson would come to Cambridge to do some voting. So we'll see. That's what they said that they wanted to do. We're doing weekly blogs, newsletters, gets 7,400 sends and 16% open rate, which doesn't sound great, but apparently that's a good percentage.
What was the percentage?
16. The guide. So now we're starting to work on the 2022 guide. And we're doing it a little differently as far as the community page goes. This is kind of an example of what the new design will be. More photos, less wording. There's going to be like 3 different topics, and then each community puts in their things. And then there's like the you don't want to miss section. So each one will get an orange thing to tell people what not to miss. Okay. Oh, we're working on a wedding promotion. We applied for a $4,400 DMO grant with the state, and that would be used to publish like print, like a printed guide. Otherwise, we'll just do website and social media on that. Let's see. Oh, I did connect with the town of Oakland, and actually Lake Ripley Management District might be interested in doing, expanding our presence in the guide and on the web. So we'll see. I should know more about that next week. Last year you guys did a half a spread in the guide, and that is $575. The full spread is $1,150, and I think you guys will talk about that later if you're still interested in doing that. Destination Madison, Kathy Yerges from Cambridge Market and Stephanie from A New Vintage Dream have been attending the collaboration meetings. Thank you for sponsoring that partnership. I think it was like $100 or something, and we've gotten so much value out of that. It's been really great. And actually Kathy sent me this whole thing to kind of, I think I might just send it to you. Just basically a synopsis of their last collaboration meeting, which they've been sharing at the Wednesday Wake Up meetings every other Wednesday at Cambridge Market. Travel Wisconsin is going well. That's a free service. I enter events and updates. They are upgrading their website. They have grants coming out all the time that I think you're probably getting the information on. If I see something come through that seems that it would fit for us, then I'll let you guys know. Some events coming up. The last Sprouting Acres Pizza on the Farm is on the 17th. Earthwood and Fires on the 23rd and 24th of October. And then we've got our cute little downtown Main Street Halloween parade and trick or treat on the 23rd. And some things coming up November and December. They are working on Country Christmas, so that should be nice. I think that's all I had. If there's anything that you...
Friends of the Library has their November craft fair.
November 6th is Friends of the Library. I was like cutting myself off because I thought I was going
That's
long.
okay. You said November, December,
Yeah,
and then...
Friends of the Library, and then Small Business Saturday is at the end of November. Country Christmas first weekend in December. Deck the House, and then Lake Ripley
How did
holiday
the
lights.
shop hop go?
I don't know. We would have to ask. I don't know
I was
if you're
just
going to be there
curious.
tomorrow at that Wednesday Wake Up tomorrow.
I can't make tomorrow, but yeah.
I can't either. I did go. It seemed good. I had fun just because we were able to relax a little more. But I think because it was on a Thursday, maybe it wasn't as attended as
I was just
well.
curious.
It was a lot of fun though.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I think that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I had a question for you, Carol, but
Yes.
maybe for you and Lisa.
Sure.
Country Christmas, and I know this year we also have new decorations, and we're really excited
Yeah,
to
I know,
see
I'm
what
excited
these-
too.
Yeah. So are we doing anything special with that? There's the parade, right, with the school, and are we still talking about maybe having the fire truck with Santa Claus?
I guess that,
We don't organize the country Christmas. I have spoken to some members that are working on it to reach out to us if they need our assistance, the park rental and so forth. But we don't organize it.
Okay. All right, so you don't know much
well,
about it
the
then?
Lions will be doing the tree lighting. I don't know, yeah, normally it's the chamber that organizes the firehouse, but I'm sure we can, see.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can all talk and figure it out.
There is a group working
Yeah.
Okay.
on setting stuff up, so
Yeah,
I
the
have-
downtown businesses are
Right.
have
talking
spoken to
about
some
it.
of the members saying, reach out to us with.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because I'm excited to see the new lights, and we've got
I
a new
know.
merchant that's opening up here, maybe. I won't see him tonight, but
Oh.
they were talking about it maybe in December, so.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, Carol, any
Thank
questions?
you.
Carol?
Just a big thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, let's, any other public appearances? Anybody care to say anything that's not on the agenda? Come on up, Nick.
Are we going to have the opportunity to engage in the discussion for the agenda item of the bike path, or do
Yeah.
you want me to talk during public comment?
No, I think we've got it on the bike path, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on the agenda, so.
Great, and then I
Okay.
can wait.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, going to move on. Approval of the consent agenda, village board minutes, and joint law enforcement.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right,
I'll second.
okay, discussion necessary? Any questions? Okay, all those in favor of approval of the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carries. Okay, moving on. Reports, President's report. I had a meeting this week with the Secretary of the Department of Transportation. Mr. Craig Thompson came up, and I had met Craig at a League of Municipalities meeting way back in August, and I wanted to talk to him about, roads and what's going on here from a state perspective. And as you know, Highway 12 is state. He came out with Carla, and she is a senior transportation policy analyst, and we had a chance to kind of walk up and down Highway 12, Main Street. And my concern was the speed of the vehicles, and I've been told this by others, especially when they're coming in from the east. And they hit that hill, and it's just, they're moving. There is nothing that the Department of Transportation has at this time on the books for rerouting traffic. It's just, it was there, and they had something, and it stopped, and so they got to start all over. Now, it doesn't sound like they're going to be starting over real quickly. And the reason is that when I talked to him, the bypass that runs from Milton that goes all the way down to Johnson Creek, that bypass has to have 15,000 cars a day before it makes sense. And we average on Highway 12 about 7,500. So it will be some time before they can do anything to run traffic around. But it is something that I had, I wanted to look at, and I just happened to have met with Mr. Thompson, and there's not a lot that can be done. They are going to see if there are some other measures. We talked about trying to get the truck traffic off of Highway 12, but it would be voluntary, and they wouldn't have to do it. It would just be those that don't know the road system here. And we don't even know how they would do it anyway, if they could. So maybe that and some signage. So that's where we're at. So I'll hear back from his assistant in about 2-3 weeks, and then I'll share with you what I hear then. So that was a report.
Did they take a look at the traffic flow on 12 and 18 before it splits, and what the traffic flow is? Because there's a lot of traffic that comes off of 18 every
Yeah,
morning also.
I get from what I gather, and it's about 2,500 cars that are
Okay.
coming off of there. So it's 10,000 that are hitting there.
Yep.
We talked, I don't want to go too far.
No, because it's on the,
Well, there was 3 other intersections when you get over there, and I'll just say this, that where 12, 18 converge, and then a little bit further down where 134 empties out, and what the state would like to see there. And then lastly, Blue Jay Way, or not Blue Jay Way, Kenseth Way, going into the development.
right.
And on 2 of them, there's nothing. There's nothing
And
on the.
this is a later agenda
Yeah.
item, so.
Right,
So-
yep, that's fine.
Okay, it just happened the timing was all lined up and
Sure.
we could get at it. So that's my report in meeting with the Secretary of the Department of Transportation. Okay, Plan Commission.
Sure, we met last night. We had a public hearing for the conditional use permit for the hotel on Main Street. Then there was CSM for Todd Schultz's property. Both items, all 3 of the items we discussed are on the meeting tonight, so
Okay.
save it for that.
All right, good. Joint Law Enforcement.
I was the only one there from Cambridge tonight. And big thing we talked about were salaries and projected budgets for next year, which is, the projected budget is going down a little bit, and which is good news, and also an update of the new officers and how they're going to get trained and things like that.
Okay.
So that was about it.
All right. Carla, you sat in on it. Did you
Chris?
call
Chris?
anything else? Or, I'm sorry, Chris.
I think the other main thing was the traffic during the walkways that you had mentioned that, and we talked to the officers about that vehicles aren't necessarily stopping. They talked about how they enforce that. They're trying to enforce it as best they can, and they do cite for it.
And just a brief update, interviews were held on the 29th. 2 officers were selected to fill the 2 vacancies that will be occurring here. One is undergoing road training now. She will be beginning in January. The second one will be starting road training shortly. He'll be coming on in February. Deputy Vandenberg will stay on until both of those are here. And they're working out some coverage for other times we're short, with Deputy Sinclair being gone. So, but one has started road training, the other one will shortly. We'll be out here January and February.
Moving on, village office updates. Ms. Bowen?
A lot of the stuff is on the agenda, some ongoing projects. We've been working on the budget. Chrissy's been working on it. We'll talk about that later in the meeting too, getting meetings set up, but kind of an ongoing of a lot of the things we've been discussing.
Okay. All right, Chrissy, bills. What do we got?
First round was $71,661.40. The second round that was done today is $21,457.48 for a grand total of $93,118.88.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills and settle.
Motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, discussion, question? Anything on how we're spending $93,118.88? All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Franklin.
Yes.
Whitworth.
Yes.
Geller.
Yes.
Kumbier.
Yes.
Schaefer Weiss.
Yes?
Rose. McNally.
Yes. All right, thank you. Going on to new business, and we'll take these in the order that they are presented. Jefferson County Tourism ad.
As Carol had mentioned, we have done a one-page spread in the brochure in the past. It is $575, so they have asked if we want to do that again. it, I believe, was budgeted for this year. Last year's was paid in December, so this year would be paid in December again, to do a one-page.
Or a half page, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, of the fold, one side of the fold, so,
All right, and the two-page then was what, 1,100 and,
yeah,
Yeah, it's 1150.
yeah.
okay, 150. All right, and then this is paid for by the village. Okay. We have a motion here before we get into discussion, or you just want to talk it through right now?
Well, we budgeted for it, correct?
Yeah,
And
we
you-
have budgeted to do it. Like we said, last year's it was paid in December, so this would be paid this December again.
So we budgeted for a half page.
Yeah.
Okay, my only question is moving forward, do we want to budget in the upcoming budget for a full page or continue with a half page? Do you have thoughts, Carol?
You're asking me?
Yes.
Yeah, no, what was the question?
Well, we budgeted for a half page
Yeah,
currently.
no,
Do you think we should in the upcoming budget?
I
'cause
do,
we're-
because we're like one of the only communities that would not have the full, but I also am talking to Town of Oakland, but they might want their own
Page.
page, I don't know. So
Yeah.
we would have to talk that through if we wanted to combine forces.
Well, I think we did the half, if I recall the conversation, we're going with the half page because we weren't really sure what the data was, but you've been coming here every time with the data to show us that it has been effective, both
Yeah.
either online or printed versions, and then going to the Wednesday meeting. It sounds like those brochures are like leaving with
Yeah.
out of community customers.
Mhm.
So I guess I would like to do the half page, but also I think we should go for the full page in the upcoming budget. Which is not on the motion, but just a,
Carol, you think it was effective? You think it would be more effective to have a full page, in your opinion?
You mean one versus the two?
Right.
I think so, but,
Okay.
I just think it looks nicer, you know, it's got the full thing.
Sure.
And then you could share more information, more photos. I mean, the guide is only half of actually just a piece of what we get out of that membership. We get my position on the board, we get the website, the blogs, the newsletters,
Okay.
and everything that we can, you know,
Down there.
promote.
Sure.
With our assets, our earned media, so.
the
Good
$500 upcharge to a full page, does that come with any other additional benefit?
No.
So, okay,
It's pretty much just the print.
got it.
Would be, yeah, so we're getting a good bang for the buck now.
Yeah,
If you wanted to make it a full spread, great, if not, it's okay too. We still get a good bang for our buck.
Have you talked to the Lake District or the town of Oakland yet?
Yeah, I did, and they are interested, and I should know more because the lake meeting is this weekend. And so I'll know more by like Monday what they're gonna do. And then we can decide, and I can ask, and I'll ask you guys if we want to make it Cambridge, Oakland, Lake Ripley area. Cause I was almost gonna have 3 pages, because if Town of Oakland did a page, you did a page, I mean, half, and half for Lake Ripley Management District, Town of Oakland, Cambridge. I just think it would be nice to, you know, have it all kind of in one section, but if somebody doesn't want to do it that way, we'll do it however anybody, you know, if they don't want to do it that way, if you want to do it separate, fine too. I mean, or we could do the print together and then separate website pages. you know,
Yeah,
that
but
could
you
work.
said it's going photographs, so I don't know what that means. How many photographs do you get?
Yeah, this was just. an
3 or
example
4.
of-
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how many.
Because we have a meeting coming up with town of Oakland, correct, Lisa? And that might be something that we could talk
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
So,
As I know more, if I hear more after this weekend, I'll let you guys know too.
so if we make a decision today, can we either increase it or decrease it between now and when?
Oh, yeah, I I mean, we've got till the end of the year. We're just starting to plan the design at this point, and yeah, we've got plenty of time.
Okay.
Let's put on our old business for next month. Or-
Well, then if that's the case, we've got Oakland coming up, we
I
could
want
ask
my,
them.
I want my own page.
You want a whole page? Well, I'm trying to figure out who else is gonna pay for it, so that's.
Well,
where,
I mean, if
you
we're,
know.
like, we're talking about a $500 upcharge for the full page to represent the village. And it seems like it's been a good like, the feedback and the data shows that eyeballs are on the page. I kinda want my own page.
Okay.
Me being the Royal Cambridge.
Oh,
pronoun.
okay,
Yeah, well, I mean the royal we.
yeah, all right. Well, anybody wanna make a motion then?
I'll make a motion to move forward with the half page, because that's what we budgeted for,
Mhm.
with continued talks about what we want to do in the future.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all right.
That's good for you.
Okay, we got a motion to move ahead with a half page, and we got a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
It's money.
Money.
Oh, that's right. It is.
Um.
It is money.
Whitwer,
Yes.
Galler,
Yes,
Kumbir,
Yes.
Schaefer Weiss,
Yes.
Rose, Franklin,
Yes.
McNally.
Yes. Okay, well, you got a half page sold.
Great, thank you.
Now you gotta work on the other two. Yes, all right.
Thank you.
thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's moving on to conditional use permit for Tony Buen Contro at the 117 West Main Street. I see Tony here, so Lisa,
Or do you want to take it, Eric?
Eric?
Yeah, so the conditional use permit was to have his hotel on Main Street. It is an acceptable use for that zoning, so it's just, he just needs this little piece of paper that says it's allowed. There was a hearing last night. Nobody spoke against it or for it. No one said anything at all. There was a unanimous recommendation to approve it as is, so.
Okay. You guys, with planning commission, you're in support of this?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
I will make a motion to approve the conditional use permit for Tony Buen Contro, 117 West Main Street for a 6-room hotel. Yeah.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion further? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
As an update, he did say that he was going to get signage coming up soon, and the building is coming along nicely. They're working, he was hoping to have it open hopefully by Christmas time or so.
Oh,
Wow.
So he's coming
that's
along.
great.
Yeah, I stopped in just to look at it. I mean, it's there on Main Street, so met somebody else. And,
And his WEDC grant is, they're working on that still. There's still a couple little hurdles to jump, but otherwise it's all on track, so
yeah, all right.
Great.
good for him.
Yep. Okay, moving on. Todd Schultz, Real Estate Ventures, 12 and 18, 134, recommendation from Plan Commission.
Sure. So this was also a unanimous recommendation to approve. Originally, the CSM a while back had 4 lots, if I recall. It's now being reduced down to 2 lots, mainly because a big chunk of it is wetlands and can't do anything with it. So it'll be divided, in your packet there, you've got a map that has Lot 1 to the, which way is that, west-ish, and then Lot 2, which is the east-ish, with a little road in between. And then off to the side there is all wetlands, which can't be developed because it's wetlands. There was an interested party for Lot 1 and a potential interested party for Lot 2 as well. So, and again, this was, Plan Commission didn't have any objections to changing the CSM.
And it was changed because of the wetland
But-
Well,
designation?
I believe it was changed, there's, expansion possibly to the west, that's kind of part of it, but wetlands, I know was part of the issue as well. It's kind of hard to take a lot that was going to be developed and now not be able to develop it, so you got to divide it as you can. And if I recall, there was some discussion about, it's the next item that we'll talk about here, the intersection improvements, that, if I recall, that was also part of the discussion, was the need to move things around, so. Yeah?
Lisa, is there going to be a public hearing on this then, at some point?
It
Because I
was,
remember the last time this came up,
that was for a TIF, the last public hearing. CSM does not
because
need
we
a public
packed the
hearing.
building.
So,
I'd just like to know.
yeah, like Eric said, they do have, and can we share the one lot? Yeah, come on up. Todd is here, so he can give a little more information on what is going on with the lots.
So most of the reason for the
Gentlemen, can you introduce yourselves, please?
Todd Schultz, Westgate Partners,
Mike Earl, Westgate Partners.
one of the main reasons that we had to ask for a reconfiguration of CSM was 2 of the 4 lots that you had previously given consideration and approval to. Due to CARPC and their new restrictions for wetland setbacks and delineations, 2 of the lots were unbuildable. So
Sure.
with consideration for the previously discussed potential for westbound expansion and what we needed to do to get that project moving forward, and necessitated restructuring it to a, excuse me, a 2-lot CSM.
Mhm.
And we do have an accepted offer from Quick Trip for Lot 1.
Good.
They are looking to build a new facility and move out of the little previous stop and go that they acquired. So Lot 1 specifically is for Quick Trip. And we do have an accepted offer with another entity for Lot 2.
Because I can remember, goes back quite a few years now. I believe Christiana had control of that at the time, and the Shell station at the time was going to expand, and the neighbors around that might be affected packed this room because it would affect their water, their water in their basements and stuff like that. So it's good to hear that you're not going to really bother that. And when we get a lot of rain, that area gets, a lot of water runs off across the street and
Right.
everything else, so.
And like any other development, if
Yep.
and when a development is ready, they'll be coming before us with the
Sure.
plans,
Oh,
including
that's
the
fine.
engineering.
So there'll be very stringent
Yeah.
stormwater retention.
Yeah.
Yep, oh yeah, I'm sure there
Yeah.
is. And that little creek and stuff like that, we can't shut off. And
So just to help me, the new station is going to be moved onto that other,
They're gonna construct a new station similar to most of their newer facilities
okay,
on Lot 1.
okay, and then the old station is taken down, or?
But they've shared with me their thoughts on that, but it's not my place to do that. That's up to them.
Okay,
You can ask them when they come in to have their building plans reviewed, what
Yeah.
their thoughts are
Well,
on the old station.
we keep hearing this, and, all right, and then you mentioned you had the other lot sold. Can you tell us who that is?
Well, it's not sold, we have an accepted offer.
Okay,
And as I told Plan Commission last night, it's with an entity, they build all types of different commercial style buildings for rent and lease, that type of application.
okay, so I'm probably not going to know who they are any more than Plan Commission did last night, so.
Correct.
It's not another grocery store.
I
It's
just
not
wanted
a
to-
used
all
car
No,
lot.
it's specifically, space for rent and lease for new business.
Okay, all right.
new Walmart or something like that.
I know it, but that's okay.
I'm on that lot.
All right,
I gotta give them a hard time.
okay, other questions that we have for Todd and Mike? Mike, what'd you do to your knee?
Got it replaced.
Okay, all right,
Looks like it's still there.
yeah, it's just,
Oh.
you've got a bandage on there, or a Band-Aid on there. Okay, other questions?
How does this CSM tie into anything with this wetland and the DNR? When does that process overlap? After this, before this?
No, the property had a complete state-approved wetland delineation. I had that done 3.5 years ago. That's
And
what
that
I've done.
ties into this current CSM?
Yes.
Okay.
All of the wetland delineation, if I'm not mistaken, is even noted on the CSM copy.
Is this where you're buying a piece of property somewhere else and you're converting that to
No,
wetland?
no. The existing wetlands on the property are not being traded off, they're just being held and respected as wetlands.
Okay. All right. So you'll work around that.
And like I said, that will all come with the plans. Right now, it's just the division of the lot that's before us.
Okay.
All right.
Zoning is not changing,
Nope.
same as it was.
Don't cut a cattail.
Don't cut a cattail, yeah.
I'm serious.
All right.
They sort of watched that a little bit.
Okay. Other questions for developers here?
All right.
Okay. Well, we've got to get a motion here for approval. Anybody care?
I'll make a motion to approve the CSM from Todd Schultz, Cambridge. Real Estate Ventures, Highway 12 and 18 and 134.
I will second.
Okay. Last time, any further questions?
I do have a question. I know this property is part of another conversation. Is that coming up later or in the meeting? This sale of this property as it ties to the other development with
That's
energy?
not on the agenda.
I know.
That's not on the agenda.
Okay.
All I will say is that there's, the road just kind of
The road discussion is.
stops there, and we'll talk about the intersection next, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Try to keep things simple. Okay, so we got a motion and we got a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Right?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, gentlemen, you got your CSN request.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did you want us to stay?
I
here
think
for
they
the?
should stay right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, just hang on a second. Okay, so D, that's the next item here, is
Yeah.
the,
It's just,
Oh, it is.
Intersection.
yes.
yeah, so last night we did an informal survey of the committee. We're not making a recommendation at this point. Part of this development was that there may need to be, whether it be a traffic light or roundabout or some different traffic pattern at this intersection because of the anticipated volumes and the agreement with Quick Trip and things like that.
Right.
The informal recommendation, again, this is not a recommendation, formal, but just a show of hands, was that we were more inclined to see a stoplight. So the stoplight would go, where 134 meets, right? The new intersection would be there. It would be a stoplight there. We were inclined to go that route with what we had from last night because to build the roundabout would have entailed closing the road. We don't want to close the road if possible. A stoplight would potentially slow traffic rather than allow traffic to slip through faster. So a roundabout is meant to keep traffic flowing. Stoplight would, if traffic's coming in from the west heading east, that would at least stop them on the entrance, potentially slowing people coming in. And it would be easier later on if we needed to put in a roundabout. We could potentially do that. I was given some pictures, plans of, a while back I had asked about, there's roundabout plans for 12 and 18 met and 134, and they're all kind of all over the place. DOT is mandating that you put some sort of regulation in place. The Quick Trip and
Yes.
Quick Trip and you
Quick
and
Trip or
DOT.
fast food triggers the necessity for
Right.
metered intersections of some kind. Lower
Right.
impact use, like the potential development of Lot 2, would only require a two-way stop sign.
Mm.
So it's the Quick Trip that triggers the need for a metered intersection.
And they were, that's what they would prefer, is a metered intersection
Right.
anyways.
Quick Trip would like to see what, stoplight?
Stoplights, yeah.
And there's a multitude of reasons. We shared an email from our traffic consultant today with Lisa. She didn't have a chance, I don't think,
Yeah,
to print it for you tonight. We brought one copy. If you want, I can read you the gist of it.
This is from who?
This is the traffic impact analysis
Thank you.
Okay.
that we paid for to have reviewed by the DOT. The DOT required a TIA, and that has been completed and accepted by the Wisconsin DOT. They then asked for a Phase 1 ICE comparing signals to a roundabout, and the signal was the recommendation. And that, at the time, was accepted by the DOT. They are now asking for a Phase 2 ICE, which basically regurgitates everything that was in the first phase, because they got wind of discussion that there was a potential for westward development. That's a moot point at the moment, because we're talking about this 30 acres and the 134 only for a metered intersection for Quick Trip. So we've been going back and forth with them saying, well, you know, that it's another $50,000 and another 2-month delay only to regurgitate what you already approved for a signal in the first place. So long story short is they came back and said, well, we would need to have a letter from Mike and myself as the developers requesting a metered intersection. They'll want to have a letter from Quick Trip requesting a metered intersection. And then we would need a recommendation from the village that you're okay with a metered intersection at that location. So that's what's driving this discussion. You know, they did come back with, we prefer a roundabout. Well, the problem with roundabouts are many. One, they're triple the cost. Two, when they're being constructed, especially in a corridor like this, traffic needs to totally be shut down for anywhere from 3 to 5 months. So there is no cross traffic. You know, metered intersection, you can maintain 1 or 2 open lanes, put in a temporary lane, and keep traffic flowing while a metered intersection is being installed. Roundabouts, you can't. And with any future development, either north, south, east, or west of here, it's a whole lot easier to improve a metered intersection than to tear out a roundabout and expand it. You've got additional real estate to acquire and all sorts of legal issues that you encounter. So, you know, I'm not criticizing anyone's preference in a roundabout or a metered intersection, but the fact of the matter is, it's more expedient, it's easier to modify and change in the future when traffic patterns change, and it is least disruptive to the community when it's being installed.
But I know other cities, like, let's say Oshkosh, for instance, they used to have a lot of stoplights when you get off highway, I think it's Highway 41, and all those little different exits. And now they're all roundabouts. Mm-hmm. Everything that you get off on 41 in Oshkosh, you're going to hit a roundabout, one roundabout or 2 roundabouts.
They went crazy with them. I mean, if you go east of here, you get into Waukesha County.
Highway 83 south is unbelievable.
83, and then you go a little bit north of there, up around the Oconomowoc Paps Farms development.
Right.
They've got a roundabout that feeds a roundabout on the south side of the interstate, and when you go under the interstate, it feeds another roundabout that feeds another roundabout, and people don't even go through there anymore.
Well, that's the same thing on N. At Cottage Grove, you see a lot of roundabouts where we had stoplights or stop signs before.
Right, but you also have less accidents. You have
And
people
less
coming
I
with
believe
a
so.
roundabout, you have less accidents. And you have people coming into town at 55 miles an hour who aren't slowing down, who aren't going to slow down for a light either, who are going to come into traffic in a residential space. So when you're talking about accidents, that's a concern. So when I appreciate all these points. It's tough to have this conversation and not have a preference, right? Because if my mother were here, she would, this is a line in the sand for her as to how she travels the earth now, is it absolutely cannot be in a roundabout. But gosh, it's really hard to get around that that intersect, because there's no other way to get around, correct? You'd have to go through Woodhaven for 5 months. You guys are going to lose it.
No, that's something I wanted to bring up too.
What's the decision date that you need for this road?
Well, it's not a decision. I mean, I'm sure you guys would prefer that the 30 acres get developed and be brought on the tax rolls as soon as possible. So we would like to still get busy and start moving dirt yet this fall
Right.
for the internal work, and we can apply for construction access with the DOT and get that in 2 weeks. And, you know, so we can proceed forward with a letter of recommendation that the village is okay with the metered intersection.
The DOT prefers roundabouts pretty
Well,
much
the
universally.
Southwest region
Right.
only does roundabouts.
Right.
You get other places in the state, and that's not the case. But the traffic impact analysis study that we turned in, the determination at the end, and the DOT agreed with it prior to the rumblings of the westward expansion, that a metered intersection was the appropriate cause and effect. not a roundabout.
That's what the DOT said.
That is what the
One
DOT
quick question, how long ago was this study done?
About
2 months ago.
About. we
The
got-
TIA?
The TIA was about 2 months
2
ago.
months ago.
Oh, just 2 months ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
And unfortunately, then other discussions about other expansion were in the newspaper, and then,
Oh, yeah.
Muddied the waters.
So then they wanted a phase 2 so that they could think about the roundabout.
well, it's, this is my opinion. It's just one of those bureaucratic situations where they want another kick at the cat to get the same information they got the first time and review it, and probably have no issue with coming to the same conclusion.
We're going to get the same cat.
Pardon?
You said cats. You're kicking at the cat, and you're saying when we get to
Yeah, well,
the second time, we get the same
determination-
cat.
I mean, when, these studies are like hundreds of pages long.
Right.
And, you know, the outcomes aren't going to change in 2 months. To make them consider their recommendation was not appropriate the first time.
I just, you know, I can agree with the stoplights and everything, but I just know that what happens when you start putting stoplights on a major highway,
Right.
especially a major intersection like 12 and 18, where they split and stuff like that.
It would not
And s-
be
and
at
sl-
1218.
Huh?
It wouldn't be at 1218, just a clarification, it would be at where 134.
It's
Well,
12.
that's still slowing traffic down, Lisa, so.
No, I know, but the light would not be at the 1218 intersection, but at the intersection with
I
134.
mean, there's other ways of getting off of 134 and doing it also, but it's just, you know.
Nick, you have your hand up. I'm not sure if it's,
Yeah, I got something for you guys. LBK, I don't know if y'all remember Linda, she was a great woman, but one of the things that she really was pushing for was the Vineyards development having a second access to 12, which exists on the current CSM that obviously we're having some contestations about.
Sure.
But if you were to create that intersection, you would have to reduce speed from 134 all the way back. And if you were to do that, the DOT might find their first recommendation to be a little more agreeable because people would be cruising at 55 miles an hour. So I just thought I'd bring that to the attention of the board, and you guys can discuss it amongst yourselves if you see it.
Who would be paying for the, either the lights or the roundabout? Is that,
Pardon?
if Quick Trip is necessitating either the metered lights or the roundabout, who would be paying for that then?
Well, that's a discussion that we're gonna have to revisit. As the developers, we can sell that property to a lower impact and just put in a two-way stop sign. Quick Trip is an existing business in this community, and they wanna enhance their footprint and create better service in the community. And them wanting to do that and expand here in the community is what's triggering the expense of this metered intersection.
Yeah, you gotta have a good you gotta have a good traffic flow for a quick trip if you're crossing traffic or whatever. And Monac was a good example of that, where they got it on the east side going north, and, you know, if you're going south, you've gotta cross traffic and stuff like that, but it might slow it down. It doesn't really slow traffic down because there's a turn lane right there also. But that quick trip is really busy all the time.
Right, they are.
And I'm sure this one's going to be the same way.
Well, there's
I know
no
it's going
gas
to be the same way.
station prior to it, like that's the gas station, Cambridge. As soon as you leave Madison, there's that one over by the casino, which scares me. Sorry, probably shouldn't have said that out loud. And then there's Cambridge. That's the first gas station.
Right.
What are we looking to do here tonight? Just discuss this or
No,
approve it?
if we want to send a letter to the DOT saying, yes, we're supportive of metered, if that's the board's decision.
But our decision is put in with everyone's like choices, correct? Like, even if we wanted a roundabout, if the other entities wanted a metered choice instead, that would all get put into the same decision, correct?
Yeah. You know, it's your decision if you're supportive of sending a letter saying, yes, we would like a metered intersection, if you'd like them to consider a metered intersection, if you'd like a roundabout, that's the decision for you guys. DOT is asking for communication from the municipality as well as the developers in Quick Trip. Like Pat said, their point of view in Quick Trips is the metered intersection. And
So would you be
DOT would
coming
like our
out of the
input.
Quick Trip into the roundabout,
There is no,
if that were the choice?
well,
Quick Trip for the roundabout?
the Quick Trip is not interested in having the business enter a roundabout.
Aha,
no Quick Trip.
no Quick Trip.
With the roundabout. I wanted to bring up the perception or the perspective from the shop owners. If we do the roundabout and you're saying there's no throughput for 3 to 5 months, how that's going to affect the shop owners, that could have devastating impacts on them.
I don't think they can shut the major highways down. They're gonna have to do something to keep traffic flowing, I would think. They don't, huh? I've always
Detour
seen-
signs,
So it'd be a detour.
detour signs.
So
Oh,
with
yeah.
that perspective and looking out for their interests, I'm leaning towards the streetlight immediate intersection. I think it makes the most sense. Just looking at it from the residents.
Would the DOT bring people out to study it to make sure that that's the right thing to do?
It's already been.
It's-
Okay,
that's-
yeah, I
that's part of
understand,
the
Yeah.
but-
Study we paid for.
Yeah.
In discussions with the DOT, it is submitted, they're reviewing it right now. They are not looking at the intersection of 1218 or Kenseth Way, they are only looking at this intersection.
I know they're not looking at 1218, but if you put a stop sign here, it was brought up last night. If you have a stoplight here, could that potentially cause a backlog on the intersection of 1218 where people are trying to funnel through there? And I guess that would depend on how quickly that cycles through
Well,
those
according to their study,
lights.
that's why they're currently not considering
Right.
anything needed at Kenseth Way or at 1218 right now, because a metered intersection has minimal impact on that.
Would there be 2 exits out of Quick Trip then? I'm just trying to, entrance and an
It's a
exit?
standard ingress and egress road with,
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so Chuck, you're in favor of going with a metered intersection.
Yes.
What say you here, Eric?
Yeah, with what we have, metered intersection, I don't have anything else. I'd like a roundabout aesthetically, but, and to keep traffic flowing, but I also don't want to shut
I've
anything
also
down.
seen stoplights go in and 3 years down the road, they'll put a roundabout in.
Right.
Okay, but for now,
But that might be a little bit different situation, because you paid for the stoplights, why would you have to pay for a roundabout 3 or 4 years down the road?
You'd be gone by that point, maybe the village
yeah.
or the county, because that's a county
Yeah, I
highway.
wonder if the county
No,
would put
it's a
it
state
in.
road, so it's,
Right.
or US road, so.
Carla, what are your thoughts?
I think at this time, it sounds like the metered light, but I agree with Eric. I like there may be a future discussion, and maybe if you start with the light, it wouldn't be a 3 to 5 month shutdown potentially, but we got to start somewhere.
All right. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, the roundabout, I mean, studies showed that they are safer, but yeah, 3 to 5 months shutdown, I'm not sure where the traffic would go. It would be a huge impact on the businesses that are already struggling, so that's hard. But maybe the metered intersection for now.
Okay. Ted?
Oh, yeah, we'll go with the metered for right now,
Okay.
with the information that we have, so.
All right. And I feel the same way.
Was the consensus last night, too. Just kind of, with what we've got, that's the best option we
Yeah.
could see.
But
Okay.
along with this development, we also have an existing development, and are we going to try to tie any of that in also? Like the vineyards?
Well,
You know,
it-
they have access to Highway 12 and 18 right now also.
Gives you your argument for the light. If you want the light, if you make that second,
That's
you
true.
make that Vineyards entrance to 12, you have to change that speed limit. And so then you can say to the DOT, well, you know, these people are coming at 25, we don't need a roundabout. That's why I mentioned it earlier.
Sure.
If you do that, if that ends up getting a connection, I don't know if you guys are familiar with what I'm talking about, but it'd be near Mike Catrano's second driveway that he has not developed. Kind of where you can see the Vineyards development peaking through 12. The original plans was for a second entrance to 12 there, which would have triggered a speed limit change. But then when Linda passed away, I think that kind of got lost in the weeds with the transition. But that gives you your key to a sound argument legally that would make sense for a metered light instead of a roundabout.
Okay. All right, Lisa, we've
Thank you.
got, I think,
Love you, Ted.
we've got enough.
We would need a motion to draft a letter in support
All
that I can write up.
All right, somebody want to make the motion?
I'll make a motion to draft a letter from the village recommending immediate intersection for the 1218 134 intersection.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, it carries. Lisa, you'll do that.
Mhm.
At least you can get it started.
Well, and I can have John Bieberts, our traffic consultant, give you a call and discuss it with you so that you understand the format.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Is there a time on this that it has to be done with?
Well, the sooner we do it, the better. I mean, it's time sensitive with Quick Trip. They need to know that they're gonna be able to move ahead and start construction next year.
All right, 2 weeks, a week?
Yeah, I mean,
We'll get it,
I'll have
yeah.
John get a hold of her tomorrow, and whenever she's comfortable in understanding the.
Mhm.
We might have
her-
further
her
information
duty,
by the
then
next
she can
meeting.
Get the letter put together.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions?
No,
Nope,
I don't
that's
think
it.
Thanks for your
You're
time,
off the
everyone.
hot seat. Okay, let's move on. Loan for a new plow truck.
Chris should talk about that. He bought it.
Well,
No.
we'll start over here. What do we got?
Little background, a while ago, we did give Public Works the authority to purchase a used plow truck if they found one that met our needs. They did find one that did come in at the 50,000 that was approved. So they're working on it, doing some safety checks, some minor repairs to it before they deliver it to us. We did put up our old one for sale. We do have somebody who is interested, has paid, so we will be receiving some of, that was 18,000 that is selling for. So Chrissy contacted the banks to get information on short-term loans to pay for the new truck. So I'll let her.
I'm sorry I didn't bring the sheet, but Badger Bank has given us a better rate. If we go for 4 years, it's about, I'm just quoting it right now, but about 2.4% for 4 years, and that would make the payment around $900, $960 a month. And then that just kind of frees up some, but it's not under the levy because of the fact that it's a loan, it's a debt. So we've already paid for the truck, but if we pull out this loan, that would give us
What was the total cost of the truck?
50,000 from Lakeside International.
What year?
Well, that I didn't check. Oh, what?
2008?
Yeah,
Okay.
2008.
And one other quick question, what engine in it? Is it gas or diesel? Because that's important.
I believe it is a diesel.
Okay.
And this has air brakes, correct, Chris?
Yeah, I would think it'd probably,
You're gonna have to have a
hopefully.
chauffeur's license.
I can get back to you, once I get some assurances on what, if it is gas or
Yeah,
diesel.
are we,
Pretty sure I heard it was, diesel.
Is it automatic, right?
That's correct.
are we setting it up for salting and everything else right away?
Was it?
Setting it up for salting and everything.
Salting and whatever you spray on the road ahead of a storm?
Line, yeah, yes, we sure are.
Okay,
Was it 50,000 minus 18,000? Sorry.
What was that?
what was that?
Oh, are you guys done?
I think so.
Okay. Was it 50,000 minus 18,000 for the loan? Which would
The
bring it, or,
figures that she got was for a $50,000 loan.
And that was
to
before-
cover the,
Before the truck was sold.
before the truck
before the
was
truck
sold.
was sold?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
The truck
so
was
it-
just sold this last week.
Yeah.
And then
Chris?
Just to add on to that, it was 18,000 plus the gentleman that purchased it owns a cement pavement company. And they are also, because we had asked for 20,000, they're gonna do $2,000 worth of work for us in front of the Scott Fountain next spring. Because what has been done there wasn't to our standard, so it's gonna get pulled up and they're gonna
Super.
put $2,000 worth of cement in there.
All right, so what we need here is what, approval for a loan of 50,000?
or is the loan 32,000?
I did the loan for 50.
Oh, but the money from the truck, does that go back to the new truck?
It could be put in revenue.
Oh, okay, so it just goes into the general
Yeah.
fund, okay.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion
I'll make a motion to approve the loan for a new plow truck,
in the amount of?
50,000.
Okay.
You don't want the loan for 32,000?
You guys tell me.
Is there a prepayment penalty?
But you're adding some stuff also to it, right, Chris? So is it going to be more than 50,000 or?
No.
No.
I'm just suggesting we use the money from the old truck to pay off the new truck, and then we have a shorter loan, or a lesser monthly payment.
Is it already approved for 50,000?
No.
No,
That's what we're doing right now.
That was just the
Well, then-
cost of the new coming in, the incoming
Yeah.
truck is 50,000, so the loan was
Let's
50,000.
approve the loan for 35,000 then. Not the whole, don't use everything off the other truck.
Well, it'd be 32, because we're getting 18.
Yeah, but there might be some tax or something, I don't know.
There's no tax, but
Okay, all right, 35.
35 is what
that's what I said.
I'm agreeing.
I made that motion, so you
Okay.
can second.
Yes, I second it.
Okay, we got a motion, we got a second for $35,000 on a new truck. We're gonna offset most of it with the 18 there that we get off the old. Okay, any further discussion? All right,
Aye.
roll call, please.
No time.
Galler,
Yes.
Kumbier,
Yes.
Schaefer Weiss.
Yes.
Rose, Franklin.
Yes.
Whitmer,
Yes?
McNally.
Yes. All right,
I'd have preferred to buy a new one, but
okay. Well,
We didn't have that kind of money.
Thanks.
probably just last one.
Okay,
Remember,
moving on.
2008.
Resolution 2022-08, Jefferson County Library Resolution. Lisa?
There's two resolutions, one for Jefferson County, one for Dane County. By passing these resolutions, it exempts us from the county library taxes. So it's something we do annually. We agree to budget a certain amount by their formulas to help pay for the libraries. If we didn't do that, otherwise we'd be taxed by the county. So in
All right.
lieu of getting taxed from them, we agree to.
All right, let's take these in the order they come. Jefferson County, anybody care to make a motion?
I will make a motion for the resolution for 2022-08 Jefferson County Library Resolution. That's
I
what-
second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carries. Okay, you're on a roll, Carla.
I will also make a motion for Resolution 2021-09 for the Dane County Library Resolution.
I will second that.
Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Carries. All right, thank you. Street closing permit, October 23rd, costume parade.
This is similar to what was done in the past. They have a little costume parade just around Veterans Park, and then the kids go trick-or-treating on Main Street. Since I did the packet, the police have looked at it and approved it. What we've done in the past is Public Works would put up barricades for them, and they just set them up during the parade. It doesn't take an hour usually, but so the square, not Main Street, is shut off just for a short time. The kids parade around and then walk down Main Street.
They stay on the sidewalk so we don't,
Yeah.
okay.
I'll make a motion for to approve a street closing permit for October 23rd, 2021 for the costume parade.
All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We're gonna have a parade in front of your house.
My house,
October 23rd, just giving you a heads up.
during the
Throw
day,
a
though.
chair out.
Yeah. Never let it be said there's nothing.
What day of the week is that?
It's a Saturday.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Then we've got these little trick-or-treaters, and they want to come out and knock on doors on October 31st?
That's how it works.
Well, okay. Does anybody care to make a motion to allow these? little
I will
hot
make a
dogs?
motion to set the trick-or-treat hours for October 31st, 2021 between the hours of 5:30 and 7:30 p.m.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, that's good. And now we're going to move on. Appointment to committees. And we've got two different groups here. We have an opening here on audit and finance. And thought about this one. And, Carla.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this?
God, I love audit and finance.
Oh, God.
Nice. Do you think you can help us out?
I would be honored to help out audit and
Okay,
finance.
all right.
I'm going to make a motion to appoint Carla to the Audit and Finance Commission.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
All right. All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And one abstain. And so, thank you.
What about the
Looking
water
forward to good
department?
things. All right. And then we have Chris Schaefer-Weiss. Now, Chris, we've talked about this. You sat through the joint Cambridge-Deerfield law enforcement. That was today. We also, you and I had discussed personnel, and I'd like
another good point.
to, I think you'd be a great chair of that committee. And then, I don't know everything that's going on with library. Ted, you had kind of mentioned.
Let me think about it.
Okay, then let's just go with two then for tonight,
That's fine.
all right?
Yep.
You'll be on the joint Cambridge-Deerfield Law Enforcement and chairing the Personnel Committee.
Do we got any extra people on for water yet?
We are set on water.
We're full?
Mhm.
Good. Okay.
So, thinking of Steve. Any motions?
What are we motioning for?
Well, I'm looking for a motion for Chris Schaefer-Weiss to be appointed to the Chair of Personnel and then actually chair that committee.
I will make a motion for Chris Schaefer-Weiss to chair the Personnel Committee.
Okay. We can take these. All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now, the next one is the joint Cambridge-Deerfield Law Enforcement.
I will make a motion for Chris Schaefer-Weiss to be on the Joint Law Enforcement Committee.
Okay. All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, we're looking for great things there, Chris.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's good to listen to the police, though.
Yeah. And then what we'll do is
I
we'll
don't
stay
do
in
that
touch
with
with you,
guys.
Ted. All right?
Yep. we'll
library.
talk.
Okay, now let's go on to unfinished business. First one up is the bike trail.
Okay, as you've noticed, they are working on the retaining wall for the bike path. It has been delayed a little bit with the rain, but anticipating being done with that within this week. They will then begin paving the path along there. We have met with Dancing Goat on the easements and so forth out there. We have asked permission to place pavement on their portion of the land as we're working out those easements. They are working with their attorney, putting together a proposal to allow us to possibly do that. The question before the board tonight is, depending on what we do there, if we hold off on paving on their property, give direction for the foundation land, if we want to hold off paving that until spring, or go ahead and do that now as well.
Okay.
Well, do we have a plan for going across the distillery property yet?
That's what we're working with them on,
Okay.
and we're waiting to, and if you guys want to add,
Why don't you
our
come on?
attorneys have been talking, and
Or do you want to work
Yeah.
through your lawyers?
Yeah,
Huh?
I know they want to say something.
Okay.
So. I don't know what it was. Good evening, gentlemen. If you could introduce yourselves.
Mike Ryber from the Dancing Goat Distillery.
Nicholas Moss, Dancing Goat Distillery.
All right. Your thoughts on this?
You don't have to say anything, too. If you'd rather work through your attorney,
Well,
that's
that's
your
kind of the
right.
thing, is I never wanted to work through attorneys.
Okay,
I
right on.
tried 10 weeks ago to get an agenda item to talk to you guys about this. That didn't happen. And then 2 weeks later, it didn't happen. And then 2 weeks later, it didn't happen again. And 2 weeks later, it didn't happen again. 2 weeks later, it didn't happen again. I'm not trying to come in here and talk about my water bill or how big of a business I run, but I got the biggest business in town. If I can't come in and talk to you guys about laws that are being broken, like, what can I even do? I've invested millions of dollars in your community already. I'm looking at investing millions more.
Right.
I need a conduit of honest and open communication, where I've been trying to talk to you guys about this for 10 weeks. And now you want to talk to me about it after I've wasted money on lawyers I didn't want to do, after you wasted money on lawyers that you all didn't want to do. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Because at the end of the day, all I really wanted to say was, you're not operating within the confines of United States governmental law. You're developing property outside of the confines of that law. We did not approve the construction. I mean, I had 4 questions I still haven't gotten answers from. He even said, I want to revisit this, and it was never revisited. And so I'm just kind of confused, because, like, you know, I tried to talk to y'all about it. You know what I mean? I mean, I think my stance is pretty clear. You guys are doing construction on CSMs that aren't accurate. And it might not seem like something that matters to y'all, but if we had signed that document, I would be liable for all of the drainage issues and the stormwater management issues and the runoff issues in the vineyards development that I already paid to have done. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, from that standpoint, it's frustrating me, because I'm sitting here now telling you, I want to invest another $40 million in your community over the next 20 years. I want to build 5 more rick houses that are 4 times the size of the ones I've already built. I've already bought the property from you guys.
Right.
I mean, I've done all these things. I've never done anything that I haven't said I was going to do. And, but in order to do that, there has to be a conduit for open and honest communication. We don't have it. The last 10 weeks, we haven't had it. And now I'm at the point where it's like, all right, I'm already down the river with this lawyer. You know what I mean? So I might as well just keep doing it, because, you know, and I don't know, you know, and my real questions is, they still stand. You know, why did you guys go ahead with construction when we didn't approve it? Why didn't, you know, if we didn't sign the easement and we had to, why'd you guys do it? Against your lawyer's recommendations. And those are my real, and those are the things that really kind of concern me, because what I'm looking at doing is buying more property in Cambridge, right? But when I'm looking at this CSM, specifically for the property to the north of me that I want to buy, that they want to sell to me, right? If I purchase that property off of the current CSM, it's making assumptions that the easements that are on there are valid and accurate. But that's not the case because somebody built a house in the middle of one of the easements. And these are things that I want to talk to you guys about, but I'm not able to talk to you because you guys won't talk to me. You give me 2 minutes of public comment.
Well, if it's not on the agenda, I give everybody 2 minutes.
I emailed you and my very esteemed colleague over here who used to be a board member and her, and crickets. And then 2 days later, crickets, and 2 days later, crickets.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
and so, and I can bring these emails in again if you want me to. You know, I'm not here to,
It's part of the issue, I think, because there is another entity involved here, the winery.
I don't know, because really the issue is we said, you
Well, there's-
asked us to sign the document. We said no.
When
to the
you
document.
said that, you've said that several times, and this predates my board member, or experience, so I apologize for that. But when you say we, you mean the Village of Cambridge asked you to sign the CSM?
It's the village as a whole, right? The
Who-
officers of the village.
What officer of the village gave you the CSM and said, sign it?
No. I was given a CSM that I was asked to have Nick sign.
Who gave it to you?
Lisa gave, no, that's not true. We have the CSM, because that's our corner of the property.
Right,
So when we were asked to sign, to allow that to go through,
the bike path.
we said that's not, the easements are not proper on there.
I see.
That's what it is, it's the easements.
And that's when you came in several weeks ago.
And so I gave
With the
Lisa the
two
updated
CSMs.
copy of the CSM that was done by the division, the development landscape architects and engineers. And it says, in the middle of it, it says, this does not delineate any property lines, which is normally what CSMs are for.
Right.
But it says that it updates the bike paths. That CSM was never registered with the state or the county.
Oh,
So that's why we said we can't sign the old one because we know it's wrong. It was not as built. It was as planned from a 2015 document that the Dane County had on file.
But who asked you to sign that?
Yeah.
Well, we had to sign it to say you could go ahead and do it. Now, we've been
So someone
saying
from
that
the
we're
bike-
not going
the
to do
bike
that
committee? Someone
since
from-
June.
Right, so I know it was wrong, and you didn't want to sign it. Does that make sense?
Right.
I'm just wondering who put that piece of paper in front of you and told you that you had to sign this incorrect CSM?
Well,
Was it the bike committee?
I was requested to present that to Nick through Lisa, through the board, through the
Okay.
village, through the bike path. I don't know where that request come from.
Got it.
I know that we were asked to sign off on it.
Okay,
And that's where I said we can't, I don't think he's gonna sign off on that. And since then, we have said, you know, this is gonna be a problem. I don't think we're
Right.
gonna be able to adhere to the request unless things are changed. What we know is that the village has also known that it was wrong all the way back into December of 2018.
okay.
And that it shouldn't be proceeded until it's resolved. So
But then
that's
it
what we're
did
saying is that
proceed.
then it happened anyway.
Yeah, and that's what we're saying is that.
It was just done anyway.
It's just frustrating.
Well, and, you know, yes,
I
2
can see where you're
steps
frustrated.
backwards. The original CSM has a bike easement that cuts through the property.
Correct.
The vineyards, in conjunction with the Dancing Goat, did move the bike path along the borders. The vineyards came before us with the CSM that the board approved. The vineyards never registered it with the county. So the original CSM stands.
Yep.
Like we've said, the CSMs typically are boundaries, delineating lots.
Right.
That is not changing the lots. We had discussions, you know, that yes, the CSM was never approved, the bike path was built
Right.
where this new one would have been. There were discussions, you know, would you sign it now? Not saying you have to sign it now, you know. There are other issues that have to be dealt with.
Well, they gotta file it first, Lisa.
Well, yeah, and it wasn't filed, so.
So shouldn't
we're-
the winery be cleaning up their CSM fiasco?
That's a really good point.
That's part of it, yes.
I can see
And
it.
is that a discussion that the board is having?
It
Or the
would be the
county.
wineries, just, they are responsible for filing CSMs. The village does not file
Correct,
CSMs.
but
That's
is
right.
the county
That's right.
following through with the winery to clear this out?
But things have changed since then.
Okay.
There is a utility easement along that whole western edge, which our engineers felt we could build the bike path upon the utility easement. As soon as concerns were brought, we have ceased any construction, anything on that little strip.
So the
Respectfully,
utility
though-
strip is out now. That's not going to work out.
No, that is ultimately where we would like the bike path to go on top of that. So what we have talked about when we have met is the CSM itself, we don't need to change property lines.
Okay.
We would need to vacate the current easements that
Right.
are on record and create the new easements.
When you say we, who's we? The village or the winery?
We would all be working together to create new easements for the bike path, the distillery, the winery, and us.
Okay.
We have been working with all parties to see if we can get to that point that would take it up that western boundary.
And that's where we're at.
And-
The sticking point is that utility easement is not interchangeable nor exchangeable for a bike easement, which is already specifically annotated and detailed out throughout the CSM.
And I asked here.
And that's one of the legal issues, is that is not interchangeable or unilaterally decidable as to what it does and what it can't do.
So if we put that through, it'd be rejected.
What's that?
Well, here's the thing, right? You just did it.
Yeah,
You
it's
know what
already
I'm saying?
done.
You've already done it.
Oh.
You cleared my trees, you graded the land, you put down the gravel, and now, and the discussion now is just paving to my property line. It's a 10-foot strip. And it's, and all we ever wanted, and all we ever asked for, from the beginning, with all of you guys, is let's just do this by the book and do this right, because it's not right. And it's, the reason why I can't bend on a CSM that's inaccurate is because I'm trying to buy more property. You know what I'm saying? And so like,
I do, and I agree.
you know,
That's,
and that's the thing is like, there's literally, a house was built in the middle of the service road for me to access the property to the north. So it's like, but when I come in to talk to people about these things, I get 2 minutes of public comment, no one can talk to me, we'll see you later.
well, I think because this is, and the reason that lawyers are involved is because it isn't just a conversation with the village and the distillery. Because I feel like those conversations are usually a little more, I guess for lack of a better word, organic, free-flowing. We've run into some situations with a situation.
I understand that there's a lot of things going on in the vineyards development right now with a lot of different
Right.
people. If the village were to take the standpoint of operating above board and transparently, there'd be less issues in the vineyards development right now as a whole, I think. I think one of the main problems that we have here, right, is we were approached because you guys wanted to do something that we all, and I have a connector link flyer in my window, and I have donated, I think, as much money or more than anyone else to the project. I want this as bad or more than anybody, but I want it to be safe for my business and the community because they intersect here, right?
Right.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you came to us, asked if you could do this. We said no because it's not accurate, and then you just went and did it anyways. And that's why the lawyers are involved. You know what I'm saying? And like
Yeah.
the lawyers would never be involved if 10 weeks ago I came in here, hey Nick, what's going on? Well, this is what's going on. I'm upset. But there wasn't a resolution. There's no opportunity to talk about any of these things. And and that suppression of conversation is a pattern that I've documented and I can present to you guys. But it's been happening all year to me. And it's hard for me to separate specifically my water issues and this issue because I view it all as the same problem. I come here with the problem, I'm suppressed, no one will talk to me. People tell me things that are literally, factually inaccurate, which by another name is a lie, right? So I'm lied to, and I ask for things and they don't get done.
And that's true with the water as well?
That's happened with the water, right? That's happened with every problem I've had so far.
Right, but I thought the conversations around the water had been improving.
The conversations around the water are always the same. It's, oh my God, give us 3 months and we're gonna do something. And then 3 months later, it's like, oh my God, well, we've only had 3 months. Like, how could we do all these things in 3 months? Well, you've had 3 months, and if you follow this maintenance plan, you should have done X, Y, and Z, but we've only had 3 months. And 3 months later, and 3 months later, and now I'm 2.5 years later, we've paid thousands of dollars for consultants who have already given water maintenance plans, and we just paid thousands of dollars again to get a water maintenance plan that's almost identical to Andy Jack's original one from the first one, 2.5 years ago, you know, and now that's being enacted by Chris, you know, because
Right.
there's finally some leadership in Public Works that's gonna do their job, you know? And
do.
so, I mean, you know, water situation's looking up, it's actually getting better. The water is less green than it usually is, but it still is green, you know?
But we did.
Well, let's
approve
back
the
up here,
maintenance.
let's get this bike trail, I want that thing handled.
I'm with
Okay,
you.
and you're telling me they built a house where they shouldn't have built the house.
I'm telling
And
you,
if that's the truth,
but that's not the problem. They did do that, that's not the problem. The problem is y'all built the bike path where you shouldn't have. That's the problem, when we told you not to. And I would have come in here 10 weeks ago and been like, build your stupid path, please don't treat us like this again. But I wasn't treated that way. I wasn't treated as a neighbor, and I wasn't treated as a member of this community, and I wasn't treated as a business owner. I was treated as somebody who needed to be controlled. And that's really weird in a town of 1,100 people.
Okay. On this bike path, because from what I understand, and Lisa, help me out here, we have, I gotta put this thing on. I hate talking through it. We've got the land, or the path that kind of goes through the vineyards. We've got, what, 30 feet that is on the corner? And then we get into the foundation. And
And we do still have to clean up vacating the old bike path easement and putting it in the correct place where the current path is built.
Okay. All right. And the contractor that's going to come in and do the blacktopping for the foundation land, the
Well,
path.
for the whole bike path,
The whole,
yeah.
well, not that
Not
30
right now,
feet.
yeah.
But before it and after it. That is all supposed to be done next week. Okay, so we've got that, and that's all part and contracted for. Can you guys see giving permission to use that 30 feet and getting that blacktop?
Before I answer that question, can I ask you a question? Why is that contracted and scheduled when none of this was approved?
that's right.
That's,
Well,
so
like,
that can
like
be-
I said, our engineer, back when this whole plan was submitted to the county and stuff, our engineer, there was the utility easement. He was under the belief that the bike path could go on the utility easement.
So that was Town and Country who believed that? Why would they believe that if they're the engineering company? Isn't that why you hire an engineering company?
And, yeah,
No, they're not our engineers anymore,
No,
so
they're not.
It seems.
Yeah, I understand that. but-
unfortunately, this project is
It
still.
seems like a creative solution. It seems like we said no, and this is kind of, I've seen this out of, I'm not gonna name names, I've seen this out of other engineers we've done work with on your behalf, with us, where I say something and it's like, well, I'm gonna condemn it. And in this case, it's like, well, no, you can't build a bike path there. It's like, oh, yes, we can, we have utilities easement. It's like, well, bike path is a utility, it's a bike path, you need a bike path easement. I said that the first time, you know, and so it's frustrating from my end to, you know, when I asked you guys to do something, you didn't do it. And now you're asking me to do something. And from my standpoint, let's talk about my first investment in your community, right? I'm looking at my CSM, which you guys won't update, which looks nothing like the development at all. Nothing at all. And I'm trying to plan how to spend more money here and acquire more land. And that's the only conduit I have to understand that, those things and delineations of property and access to that property. You won't update it.
Well, here's where we're at, I think. Nick and Mike, you know, you're before us this evening, and we're trying to talk about this bike path. And if you don't feel comfortable in giving us the approval, the authorization to go ahead and blacktop it, you don't. That's not gonna, we're not gonna get all the rest of this stuff, if you will, resolved this evening. And I want to have a good, productive discussion with you.
Me too.
Now, that is not bull crap. And I'm talking, Mike, you and I have had some discussions, and I've had it with Lisa, and I'd like to get Chris in. And I'd like to try to get into some of these issues. But we're not going to be able to throw it all tonight. So if you feel like you don't want to move ahead with approval for the pavement on the bike path, you just tell us. If you do, we can get that done next week. You have my promise that we're going to do everything we can to work with you. Now, it's not going to, I don't think we're going to end up with a miraculous cure all at once, because some of this stuff involves multiple parties and over different years, but we can work on it, and that's my commitment to you.
Why can't we get this CSM refiled?
I don't know if we can do all of that between now and when the contractors are supposed to be there on whatever,
Well,
next
like I said,
Monday.
we do not,
I know.
the village does not do CSMs.
I
Somebody
understand.
has to
I
come with,
understand.
yeah, CSM is a division of land, just like we did before.
Right. And that's something that should have been done and hasn't been done.
Can I ask another question? So, Kenseth Way and Lagoon, I feel like it's dangerous. The DOT has said it's dangerous. The DOT has told you that you are going to fix it.
Mhm.
Joe DeYoung told me, if I overcomplicate it with donors, they won't make me fix it. I want it fixed. I want a legal intersection. If you look at the development agreements, it should have been done 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's
Is there
where
any
the
update
road
on that?
curves over, right?
Yes, there, wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
the TIF.
Here's my thing,
You're
right?
stacking a lot of work on Highway 134 right there.
I have 2 trucks a week leaving the dancing, actually, more than that, about 2 a day, leaving the dancing go, 40 barrels on the back of a flatbed. I am following all the legal requirements for transporting alcohol as per the DOT, the FDA, the EPA, and the United States government. I've checked all those boxes. I am still scared crapless to take that unprotected left turn to head towards Lagoon,
I agree.
which is the road that I own, because we're in the middle of a death trap. DOT has told us it's a death trap. They've told you it's a death trap. Is it even on your radar to fix that?
Has not fallen off mine.
No.
That was
And-
in discussion.
We just actually talked about it last night at Plan
Yeah.
Commission also.
The engineers are working on it. They will be submitting stuff to the DOT.
We were kind of held up with TIF money. How do you come up with millions of dollars? Now that we have, the TIF money will start rolling in this coming calendar tax year, so at least we'll have money.
We'll
which-
start collecting, and they'll
Right.
review that at our TIP meeting
No,
tomorrow.
I want that fixed.
2020.
Why was that
Yeah.
money held up? Because of the winery? Or?
Yeah.
No,
The DOT
no,
was
part of
having
our
a problem with it.
TIF is to help fund that road.
It's just
We're petitioning the DOT for a hidden drive at the northwest corner of that property. And that's what Wendy told me, that's gonna initiate a review of all of that, which is where this elevation, line of sight,
Yep,
intersection,
yep.
turn lanes, all that's going to stack up on a list of things to be done.
Again, that's a full
So
discussion.
what we're saying is that we have some suggestive solutions, and we see it, because we are invested here. Nick's family's put a lot of money in it. We're trying to make this work. We have a laundry list of activities over the next 3 years, like Nick was saying, that's going to keep us coming in front of you.
Right.
And of the committees and the other sections, we're not gonna go away.
I don't think we
I don't want you to go away.
I know that you've come back here, and I know that in well, not that it's a secret in closed session, but we have had discussions about how this ties into everything that's going on over there. So it isn't lost on the board that you've been here. It's just, it's tied into other situations that we're trying to resolve at the same time. And like this DOT situation, it's coming to the point where we are hoping to resolve everything, but that's very frustrating for you because we do have legal representation and we aren't allowed to freely speak to your concerns sometimes.
And I understand that 100%. And that's all you have to say. But when you don't say that,
Right.
when I'm ignored, when requests for agenda items are ignored, when I am told, when I'm put on a clock of 2 minutes, when everyone else can talk as long as they want, in violation of the Roberts rules that you guys have adopted yourself, I mean, these are things that, what you're saying, I believe that you believe them, but that is not the sentiment that we've received from the board.
Well, and personally, I apologize for that.
I
I
really
just don't
appreciate
feel like we were in a position to answer you publicly. But unfortunately, like privately, that's challenging as well, because that doesn't look, that has optics as well. To your point about public meetings, I mean, you are held to the 2 minutes, but we do have, I guess, for lack of a better term, special guest stars that come in.
Well, if you're part of the agenda,
Yeah.
then we can have this kind
How
of.
do I get on the agenda?
Well, then,
How do I, Mark, how do I get on the agenda? I tried to
Okay.
get on the agenda for 10 weeks.
okay, I don't know.
And then we showed up to every single meeting
Mhm.
in that standpoint. I asked 2 meetings in a row. I timed everyone that spoke. Everyone went over 2 minutes. And I asked every week to get an agenda item. I didn't get one. Sometimes I didn't even get a response. I asked you. I asked him. I asked her. So how do I get that? Now, so finally, this is what I finally found, is I found all your email addresses. Welcome to the board. I'm gonna find yours too, to go post as well. And I'm just gonna start asking all of you for agenda items.
Okay,
Because it's,
all right,
there's something
fine.
missing here.
all right.
And I will just say, you know, if I receive requests, Mark and I can discuss what's on the agenda, but I need specific, very specific, what is the agenda item?
I mean, I sent you.
Not a page long,
I
you
sent
know.
you a list of 4, the agenda item was the destruction of the trees on my property that I asked you not to destroy. I had 4 questions I wanted to ask and have answers to. You wouldn't answer them? You wouldn't give me agenda items for them to answer
I
them?
did
Okay,
answer
all
some,
right,
but, yeah.
All right, let me go back to my question that I had for you. Gentlemen, how do you feel about us going ahead at this time and paving over that 30-foot so we can take care of the bike trail? Do you see that you can approve this or not?
I think that we have been talking with our attorneys. Our intention is not to hold up your bike path. It is to allow you a conditional use to do that, but it is not going to just be given to you. So our attorneys will discuss
Okay.
the commitments we need from you to do that, and it's only gonna be things you've already committed to do,
All right.
but you've failed to do for years.
Okay.
And so if you guys can, you know, it's really hard to look ourselves in the mirror when we've screwed up royally. But this is a time to do it and just say, hey, we've made these commitments to them that haven't been met. We can meet these in this deadline or we can't.
Okay.
And respond with a, yes, we can, no, we can't, give us a timeline. If you sign the document, we'll give you conditional.
All right, well, I
That's
don't
what we
know,
can do.
we're
I
not gonna
think
be
that's a
able
good
to do.
idea.
We're not gonna be able to do all
That's a
that.
really fair one.
I don't know what else you can do.
Yeah, we won't get all that done between now and next week, so.
It
we've got
can
to
get,
pave.
it can.
Well,
This is
I-
the thing with you guys, is you keep saying 3 months, 2 weeks. Yes, it can. It can get done in that amount of
Okay.
time.
All right. Is there anything else then on the bike trail?
Nope.
Okay, because that's what we wanted to
Once
talk.
we receive something, we'll bring it back to the board.
It's just the bike trail, that's it. That's what we have for the agenda item. I know that there's other issues, other concerns, and we can talk about those.
For the record, how do I talk about those? How do
We
I
have
get an agenda
upcoming
item?
agenda item at the end of the meeting, when we ask for upcoming agenda
Mm-hmm.
requests, so that would, you can stick
That's a
around.
good point.
Can we request a standing agenda item until issues are resolved? Is that unfair?
No, I don't know if you want to have a standing.
Why not?
Hey, if I don't have anything, I'll
Our
give it a
issues aren't
pass.
resolved, why
Well,
would-
whatever, what is it that you want to talk about at that
Yeah,
time?
so
I
let's
mean,
fast forward and say that we're getting to the end of the meeting and you would come up with the agenda item for the next meeting. What would that agenda item be concerning?
Which for next week's meeting? If you're
Well, the
act-
next meeting. that
2
we have,
weeks.
yeah.
If you're actually gonna let me have an agenda item, I mean, where do I?
Yeah, I'm asking what it is.
Where do I start? I'd love to start about the vineyards development and it's the CSMs on it and the original plans of it. And
That's a good, that's a
the
good place to
shambles that
start.
it's turned into now and how to navigate that as a business owner. I would love to talk about the 134 Lagoon Road
Okay,
shenanigans that's going
all
on.
right, okay.
I would love to talk about.
You got the
challenges
idea.
in the vineyards.
You've got the idea what you
Love to
need
talk
to
about the
do.
water.
Well, there's, like I said, there's a laundry list of things that come with continued development and continued capital
agree.
investment.
All right,
So, as I
Okay.
said, we're gonna be here for a while.
all right.
That's
And
right.
Just as we are, and we want to hear it. So if you don't feel comfortable right now with the paving, we understand. And
My
let's
big
just,
problem with the paving right now is I give you your bike path. What happens to me next? What are you gonna do to me next?
well, if you want to,
When's the next time you're gonna come and say, I'm sorry, we can't keep you an agenda item, and then 6 weeks later, oh, hey, we need you to do this.
Okay.
Why don't you come talk to us?
All right,
And that's,
okay.
and it's a fundamental way that business is handled that is flawed, and it's disrespectful.
all right, okay.
And
Gentlemen?
some of those points you brought up should go into old business after it's talked about the first time.
Well, I think there's also been some challenges with Town and Country, some challenges that were with the vineyard. And we've run into those two particular agents in this situation. I think we're also trying to resolve those situations amicably. So I know that's not the answer you're looking for necessarily, but I think we are not oblivious. It's not that you're telling us this and we're disagreeing with you. We're just trying to find, a way forward, but we understand that from your perspective that it's your business, right? So it's extra frustrating. As a municipal entity, we do move slowly.
This is my village, and this is my community. That's my
Right.
Quick Trip, that's my Ken's, that's my sports page. I'm a member of this community too. I spend as much time or more here than most of the residents. I work mostly 16-hour days, 12-hour days, 16-hour days. So I'm here than most of the residents, but I don't have
Right.
the right of the residents. And the step in the right direction today was our seats, our butts in these seats, and you guys having an honest, correct conversation with us. Because we've been asking to do that for 10 weeks. And so I'd like to thank you all for this opportunity. I hope I get it again. But
You're asking for an agenda item for the following meeting, and you want that agenda item to be in regards to the CSM? Can we
Well,
pick-
let them think about it. They've
You-
got
oh,
a few
okay. You wanna
minutes
think about
before they have to, come
Yep.
up with something
we're
for the
just-
next meeting.
We're going to approach, we've already in discussion with lawyers, because that's the direction you guys wanted to go, so we went that direction too. And our lawyers are gonna discuss with your lawyers a standing agenda item, and if that's palatable to the board and the clerk. So
Okay.
if it is,
Okay.
that's something that we'd love. I mean, it's not, I don't want an agenda item for 26 weeks out of the year, so I can come in here and be like, screw you guys, let me do it. It's if there weren't any problems, I wouldn't be asking for it. If I wasn't trying to fix my water for 2.5 years, I wouldn't be asking, not my water, everybody's water.
It's not
But I
always a
think your
negative
attendance at
conversation.
those-
We've
so
had
your
several that are
consistent
positive.
attendance at those water
And so
meetings
let's
did
keep
help us.
positive and
Yes.
solutions.
That's right.
Sure.
I'm gonna,
With them
I'm gonna
instead
draw
of
the,
Moving
I'm
forward.
gonna draw this topic to a close.
Yep.
So, gentlemen,
That's
thank
fine.
you.
Okay.
So
If you-
it sounds like we're excused. Thanks
Well,
a ton.
on this one, yes, if,
Thanks a ton.
you're welcome. Okay. All right, moving on. Fire Commission update. I want to, because this is going to take a while. We had the meeting and this past week, and we went through once again the building. And as you know, in the spring, in April, there was an election, and it was a referendum, and it was on a roughly $6.5 million building expansion for the fire EMS facility. That was voted down in the town of Oakland, the town of Christiana, and the village of Cambridge. Lake Mills approved it, and so did the village of Rockdale. But 95% of who was going to pay for it had voted it down. Now, they have been meeting, and there was a special subcommittee to go and look at this. And the subcommittee has met, and they came up with a couple of proposals. There's the Sheila proposal, which is bringing it down, and they think they can do it for like $5 million. But there's not formal blueprints, but that was an effort. Then there was the TED proposal, and not you.
Not mine.
No.
No.
Ted Bratney. And his proposal was it came down, but there was a standalone facility for the EMS. And then there is still the original proposal, which was $6.5 million that was voted down, and we don't know what it would be today. I mean, we just have no idea.
And we don't know what the idea of Ted's proposal was or Sheila's proposal.
Correct, 'cause
It's
they-
all hearsay.
Right, right. So, you know, we're kind of, the commission is bouncing this stuff around, and I'm listening, and there was, you know, it gets to be, there's a full discussion. And I raised the issue, because this had come up with somebody a while back, and I can't give credit to this person, but they had asked, well, what do you think the village would do, would support? And instead of us coming in and getting a number from experts on what the facility should be, why don't we do it reverse? Come up with a number and then say, here's what you've got to work with to build it. Similarly, you know, when you go out to buy a house, you don't just, well, I'd like to have a swimming pool, tennis court, kitchen, dining room, four bedrooms.
Why are they getting to this point now? Why do we have to have 5 years? Like, no kidding.
Well, it's been 5 years.
Well,
Yes, I know that.
You didn't spend all the 5 years trying to design a building that's going to be good for 20 to 40 more years, Mark. You weren't part of that.
No, I wasn't.
That's
But I'm
right.
trying to get something done here.
And those people spent a lot of time doing that.
Okay, and here's where we're at. What they are doing now is the commission is asking the members to go back to to get, if you will, a straw vote number. What do we think we could get behind as a total expense on this? And we're not experts. We're not in there as engineers, as builders, but we also know the residents. The town of Christiana has done so. And what they found out, their board came back and said last night that they could see supporting a $4,750,000 building.
For their portion.
No, not their portion. They're geez, that would be 20%. I mean, you know, God. No, it's total. It's the total investment in this building. And that's what I wanted to do tonight, is it's informal. It's just, what do we think that we could get behind as a number in support of a facility for our fire and EMS?
How does this change with solar money coming in?
Boy, you know, it's not just solar money coming in, because we don't get any money.
I'm aware.
Yeah. And number two, this solar, Carla, if this solar goes in, a whole lot of population and development that we were kind of counting on, it's not going to happen. So,
I understand that. That's my question. You're asking for a straw poll for numbers for a station, and things have changed, both in terms of population growth, also the needs of what kind of fire we need to put out, and the communities that are involved are seeing money that we're not going to see, which they're entitled to. It's their space, but that changes the conversation, doesn't it? But we're still having the same conversation about the same building at the same price tag. It's the same thing over and over. No matter how the design problem changes, no matter how the community responds, it's the same fire station at the same price tag. Building numbers have changed, price tags have changed, labor has changed, and they keep shoving the $6.5 million fantasy project in front of the villages expecting some other answer and running into the same wall.
And
We
now
have never changed the question. The community has changed, the dollars have changed, the needs have changed.
yeah,
I don't care about a straw poll.
Well,
This whole thing it's a fantasy.
well, and we delayed it, so the material prices have
Of
doubled.
course! Why are we still pulling out the $6.5 million?
Because it's going to be higher.
I know, it makes no sense that we keep having the same conversations over and over again
That's
for
right.
years.
It's not 6.5 anymore.
And then
Well,
maybe
no,
the EMS is like this, or
if
maybe
they
this
want-
happens. But the same plans keep getting shoved in front of me. I'm so sick of looking at them with no other information being invested into this. Everything about this thing has changed, and yet we don't even bring up the design problem. Now we have a pole barn. Now we have this. Whereas, meanwhile, the poor fire station doesn't have the apparatus that they need. They're like endangering themselves because they're cramped into the space, and they have problems with their ventilation. And we can't address any of that because we're arguing about bricks and fireplaces and bathrooms. Because they think that's the design problem?
Or 4 extra bathrooms, big deal.
Well, there were
But
15
we don't
bathrooms.
address
No.
any of these things. We're looking at, oh God, it's so frustrating.
Okay, all right,
to
I
have
get
this
Forget the
that.
discussion
That's
over
the
and over.
past. That's the past. And it was
They're needed.
voted down.
They're
And
needed.
what I did is I said, perhaps we need to reverse it. Maybe we need to come back and to tell our own commission, which I'm a part of, here's what we think the appetite is. Here's what we could get behind. Now, I have to be the first to tell you, none of us are builders. Well,
Chuck's a builder?
on a commercial. Okay, and I'm sorry, Chuck, but you know, you're not doing commercial, but maybe you can lend something.
Well, I think it breaks down to what each household can afford to pay per year. That's why I got the referendum failed, because people couldn't pay the $500 a year or whatever it turned out to be. So we need to, I don't know if we need to put a survey out there, but figure out the maximum people are comfortable paying per year based up with their property taxes, and then go from there. So how did they get to that 4.7?
I don't know. It was just a matter of, okay, this is the town of Christiana, and their elected officials saying, okay, here's what we think we could get behind.
So more theater. No data, more theater.
Well, it's a price point, because I think what would happen.
Based on what?
No, it's based upon at least the estimation of that board.
From
But-
what?
But for what? To
No,
give,
from what? They got this number.
Oh, I don't
They
know.
estimated it.
you know,
Would they do a Facebook post?
no, you know, for all I know, they were just, they went over and.
That's what I
I'm not
mean.
gonna
It's
say it.
still theater. It's still
Okay,
theater, not.
it is right now.
What?
It's theater right now.
I know!
Okay,
That's why
so-
I'm screaming in this high-pitched
Okay, so
voice.
what do you want to do? I mean, I'm trying to get something resolved.
Back from what Chuck said, should it be a commission-led effort to do a survey of all residents of the fire commission to say what would be something you could get behind, rather than us picking a number saying, here's what we think are citizens, should the commission be taking the lead to do a study?
And the commission has certain needs that need to be met. Those laws and stuff like that,
But if it's
dictate
not going
that.
to pass the citizenry, it's for naught.
Well, you gotta
But-
educate them.
We were educated, and it failed.
But does the
I don't think
commission
so.
take the lead to do, instead of us, each community throwing numbers out there, should the commission be doing an actual study to find out what would be?
Yeah.
I think that's a smart idea.
If you could get them, if we said, no, we don't want to come up with a number, but we suggest that we survey all the residents of the 5 municipalities.
Well,
Okay.
what if the number is
But-
0?
Well, then they don't want a new building.
You could put that in the survey, 0.
0.
You could put it in increments, all the way up to 500,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
it was.
Phase
And
it.
then from there, you could calculate how the maximum cost based off the averages. So Chris, I mean, you put that pamphlet out there, I thought was very useful, broke it down. And I was like looking at my taxes, I'm gonna be paying $550 extra a year. How did you guys calculate that?
I'd have to go back and do some research on it, but off the top of my head, I could get you an answer, but I don't have the data with me right now.
I think the cost per 100,000 was actually supplied by Terry Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they can do that again, put a survey out there,
Yeah.
catch your answer.
Well, and it's even the referendum question when you look at it. I mean, it's just, do you approve 6,500,000? Because we struggle with, well, geez, there's that land that they didn't buy that they need to buy now, and that's the Pizza Pit property. And, you know.
It's
that-
vacant
But
now.
like 6.5 million doesn't mean anything to anyone. It's what
It doesn't mean anything to me.
it's just
Yeah.
what am
That
I-
same fire station was built in 1980 and
85.
in 85 for 2.2 million mark, you know?
Yeah, and here's the other thing, and I reminded the
So things go
commission.
up.
No, I reminded the commission, because it's not just this fire station. Every year, there are increases in our operating. I think the operating this year is 191,000. That's what
Our
they're looking
share.
for. Our share. The village of Cambridge will pay $191,000 into this commission.
Their budget went up 4%, right?
I thought it was 3.
3?
Yeah. Okay,
Still,
number two.
If we could raise our budget 3% each year.
Number two, there are equipment needs. They are taking on a new transport vehicle. And, you know, this new transport vehicle, it was supposed to be $400,000. Now it's coming in at $550,000.
Prices go up.
And, you know, you've got half paid, and the other half is going to have to come in next year. Now, that's on tail end. When did we get the last engine one, Dean? Was that like 18 months ago? And that was about $650,000. So you've got these equipment needs that just don't stop. And when I asked about it, somebody there said, well, what do you expect? It's going to last for 30 years? Well, maybe not 30, but perhaps 20. You know, the last engine one, it had there was some electrical and it leaked. Now, it doesn't get used. Well, it doesn't get used that much, but they wanted to get a new one, and they did. But this stuff is not $50,000 pickup trucks. So if you don't have it with the equipment, you don't have it with operations, now you look at personnel. And I'm already hearing that on the EMS side of it, they want to add another full-time. And that's not to say anything about the fire department, because volunteerism as a model is kind of waning.
Yep, and you keep denying their needs in a building that they can work out of. You're going to be paying for the firefighters too.
Well, here
We're going to pay for the firefighters regardless.
Yeah.
The volunteer model is over.
I know that.
So if you've got your paid volunteers for the fire, paid personnel for the EMS, you've got equipment for, you know, both, and then on top of that, you've got a building at $6.5 million. If we're not careful, everything we've got will be going out for fire and EMS.
Yeah.
I think it's hard for people, I mean, with COVID and the economy, to put their mind around everybody getting their own bathroom. I know there were fireplaces, I'm not sure where that stands now, a state-of-the-art workout room. I think it's hard for people. I think it's one of the reasons that the referendum did not pass.
Yeah.
And I think if, you know, this number of 6.5, yeah, break it down per $100,000 house, what does every family have to pay? What does it look like for their budget, their personal budget?
My question is, I know the intent is to build for the next 50 years, but what does it cost to fix the problems they're having right now, the safety issues? How much would that cost to fix the current problems?
I would say $2 to $3 million, because mechanical systems have to be replaced. All the electrical
where do you
systems.
get that number?
Huh?
Where are you getting, that number's never actually been looked up, just to fix.
I just know what, you know, the cost of mechanical systems and stuff like that. That's a
That's just the
place
thing
to start.
that you keep in your head.
Place to start.
Right, but that's what my point is, they don't bring that conversation, like what can we do to fix the things that are needs, not design problems, but needs. And everything
know.
becomes a need at that point, and that's where we get into the metaphor of the house. Yes, I absolutely need 12 bathrooms. And I absolutely need these things. And every time you talk to the architect and the commission, everything becomes a need. And so when you go back and say, I would imagine that your oxygen situation is more of a need. What is the cost on that? And those numbers don't show up. They're shuffled off because the whole thing is considered a need. And that has been a very frustrating conversation. And then to come back here and ask for dollars and amounts and do the work for us, find the amount, do this for us without them having this very real discussion of what our wants and what our needs. That has been incredibly frustrating. So come back to the village and tell the village to do the work, because we need to know. But they don't do the work. They just give me the same answer over and over. Everything's a need. We need this, we need this, we need this.
There are certain things that they do really need.
That is my point.
That's right.
But we don't get that. We don't get this itemized. We don't get everything comes in at the same level of need. And so it's hard to have a conversation, and it's hard to do the work for the commission and for the rest of the boards and communicate to the rest of the
You're right about that. You're right about that, Carla. I mean, and I have shared with them, you know, people are so entrenched in this right now that they, you know, refuse to give up. But it'd be nice if you could go to a firm and they were totally independent.
Yes.
I mean, totally independent. They're not going to be part of the the builder who's gonna put it up, or, you know, they're just, okay, I've got some friends and they just did an expansion over here, over here, over here, coincidentally with the same builder.